Hello and welcome to a solo in the spotlight. I'm Kyle Pierson. I'll be joining John Horton again in a few days for our season premiere, but we got a little special for you today. We have Marissa Macy, the writer and director, and she's also an author. This particular project is called Easy Digging, and something about it tells me it wasn't all that easy putting it together. So we're going to talk to her and find out how it all came to be. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me, Kyle.
Oh my God, this is great. So tell the folks about this incredibly, I will call it bizarre. It doesn't seem like it when you're watching it, but when you know what went into making it, it's a little bit odd. So how did this come to be?
So Easy Digging, like very simply put, is a mockumentary about a man who is planning to dig to China. So we just coming from that idea of like every kid wants to, or a lot of kids have tried to dig to China. I know I did, or just the fascination with like just digging holes, I guess. Um, Phil, who is the star of the film, and I have been friends a long time. We did improv together, and have worked on some other projects together as well. And I think it was like, it must have been pre-COVID or maybe like right around 2020, kept saying like, oh, it'd be funny if we made a movie about a guy digging to China. And in 2019, I had done this short film called Brunch that was honestly so taxing to make that I was just like, I don't know if I can, I don't want to make this. I don't want to think about it. But it just kept like kind of knocking at the back of my head over the years. And in late 2022, I was like, it kind of started to click for me as an idea. And I had the energy, I think, having had a break from filmmaking and also coming back to it thinking, oh, well, if I make another film, I want to really do it in a way that feels really good to me and is fun for everyone. Because the last film I had made was not very fun to make. And so um, I came to Phil and said, like, I think it would work as a mockumentary. I had made a mockumentary film in 2017 called Bed Eater. And so it was a form that I already really liked to play around in. So him and I kind of tossed some ideas around, and I came up with a very loose script. And at the time, I had learned about something in Austin called Austin Public, which is part of Austin Film Society, where you can rent equipment from, it's essentially the city equipment by going through this like producers program, and then the content that you make would go on the public access channel. And it was amazing equipment. The people there were like amazing. So I started taking classes there as we wrote it, and I was like, okay, well, I think I can budget wise make this movie if I do it all through these rentals. And they have like great lenses and cameras and all the audio equipment and lighting stuff. So they had like everything we needed. And so for like $12 a month, I was renting all of this equipment, which was just like, it was like,
$12 for all of it?
yes. Because
Wow.
you pay like a producer's fee every month, which is the $12, and you just get certified for the equipment. So you take a certification class, which is like, it really would run between like 30 and 60 for the class. But then once you take that
Hmm.
class, you can rent stuff out for free. So
Wow.
yeah, it's like amazing. It's an
That
amazing
is
resource.
incredible.
Yeah. So I thought, well, because it was just DIY, self-funded. And so I thought, hey, if we can make this for a couple $1,000s, like, let's do it and just have a blast. So we called in every favor we had with like pretty much every like improviser in Austin and beyond that I had been wanting to work with. And Phil starred in the movie, so we kind of wrote the character for him. And we shot it on weekends and evenings over the course of almost 6 months. It was a long filming process. So we planned everything out like very, very meticulously, a lot of pre-production. All the character arcs, all the kind of goals of the scene and all that were planned out really well. But then on the day of when we filmed with everyone, all the dialogue was improvised. So we would shoot it as though it were a documentary and kind of run through a little bit of blocking, make sure everyone really had the character motivations down. And my style of directing is very much giving actors all the tools they need to like really explore a character. And so it was really fun to be able to do that with a lot of people that I have been wanting to work with. So it was fun. We succeeded in it being, it wasn't easy, but it was fun. So, um,
And it's very much Spinal Tap style.
yes.
It's, that they knew the story and what they had to get to, but on the way, a lot of it's made up as they go.
Yes, yeah. And the last three films I've made have been in that style of like, some of them have had longer like rehearsal processes and they've kind of taken on different forms, but I really like the improv style of either writing or using it like on set. So, because I come from like I've been doing improv for almost a decade, and so that's kind of my bread and butter for the
What
most
would you
part.
say
So.
the benefits and or pros and cons are of doing it in that way?
I think for me, it gives things like a really great texture, especially in this genre of mockumentary or for comedy in general. Like I know that I can write funny things, but I think where my talents really lie is coming up with funny scenarios or really fleshing out characters and kind of the emotional element. So the pro for me is like I can give an actor all this like information about a character and what they want and this arc and kind of load it with the emotionality, but then kind of let them be silly with it and find the comedy there. I think the biggest challenge is that, when we went to go do post-production, we had like I couldn't even tell you how many hours of footage we had.
I'm
So,
sure. I'm
yeah,
sure.
it was
Yeah.
a lot of footage. And so, because we would just run the camera and then do it, sometimes I felt like in one take we had more than we needed. But other times we would run things two or three times. But a scene that would end up being like 4 minutes, we would sometimes have 30 minutes of uh,
Wow.
run
Holy
like
cow.
of footage. So, for example, we have a scene where Ed goes to a community college class on holology, and I had my friend Ben Blattberg, who's a very talented improviser, who's also just kind of like just a really smart guy. And we always kind of mess with each other, like when we do improv together. So I was like, I asked Ben to like prepare a lecture to do on holology. And so he like prepared a full lecture and I just like let it run. I just was like
Really?
waiting to see how long he could go kind of thing. And so for that scene, I had like 20-minute lecture from him, fully improvised, never broke character. He was just waiting for me to say cut. And I mean, like, I don't go around like torturing actors like this or anything, but for him and I we have like a relationship where we joke around like that. And so but then yeah, like in the edit, it was like, okay, well, this scene can't be okay, we got it down to 10 minutes. Okay. We got it down to five. Like, okay, well, it's still too long. Okay, now we got it down to 2.5. So the first like cut of the film was 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Actually, I think it may have been longer. And so to get it down to like 99 minutes was, yeah. So that's the challenge of and I did all the editing along with Keith Charba, one of the other producers. And so it was just us with all that footage that
Well,
we
the thing is, and besides the fact that you have the principal characters, there are a number of characters that were, done remotely that you
yes,
brought in. And like, for instance, I'm one of them.
yes.
I admit that. I'm one of them. And I had the same thing. I just kind of I started. I was going to have a very scripted thing I was going to do, and then he was like, you know what? Let's just ad lib this, and it goes longer than you expect. So I'm like, okay, well they can cut out whatever they wanted, and you did. You made very smart, edits. But there was so many people that contributed, and I'm sure you wanted to get is if you didn't get everybody and you got I'm sure you got as many as you could,
Yeah.
and then that makes the movie even longer, and then you have to edit that down. So that's where I was looking at this project and thinking, um, you've got to be slightly insane because you pitched this idea out there, and I'm thinking, okay, the principle is about digging a hole to China, which already, I'm thinking, well, you can't do that. And they're like, no, don't worry about that. Just let that set that aside. I'm like, okay, and just ad lib whether you're for it or against it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, first of all, I'll do anything, and I have. I've done some bizarre stuff, but I'm thinking, okay, this is probably one of the ones that's going to come out poorly. And I'm like, but maybe if I can make my scene funny enough, it'll help because this is probably going to be a lot of people that really want to do it and just don't have the chops, and you're going to put them in, and and I just had an envision of it not turning out well, but I'm like, I want to help, I want
Yeah,
to do what
yeah.
I can, plus it gives me an opportunity to ad lib, which I haven't had the opportunity to do, so I'm like, oh, that'll be fun. If
Yeah.
nothing else, it'll be fun. And then the movie comes out and I see the movie, and I'm thinking I might potentially be one of the funniest things in here. Maybe. If I'm funny at all, maybe. And instead, I'm one of the least funny things in this movie because everybody you got was so good that I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is a really good, genuinely well crafted film.
Thank you.
And going in, I honestly I didn't think it was going to work. And I'm like, okay, they want people to just make a film up as we go with no real contact with anybody, and it just seemed like a very big risk on your part.
Yeah.
And it really, really worked. And I'm not saying this because I'm involved. I've been in some real duds. I mean, some real movies that I'm like, I don't know what they were thinking here.
Right.
This movie is genuinely good. And my wife tells me too. She'll be one of the first ones. She was like, whoa, well, you're not going to make me watch that again, are you? In that one at the end, she's like, this is so good. And I'm like, I know.
Thank
So, first of all, kudos to you from both me and my wife.
you.
Um, but was that just really good editing? Did you just get did luck of the draw and all these people that submitted stuff was really that good? It just was insane how good everybody in this film really genuinely is.
Well, thank you. I think it was a couple of things. I think that the part that I was getting people's submissions for was kind of this like additional social media reaction. I kept thinking of like there's all these like Netflix documentaries where there'll be like it keeps like cutting to all this like social media reaction.
Hmm.
And so watched like a million documentaries, like in the process of both writing, filming, and editing this, just to kind of like get the feel of a doc. And because that was really what I was trying to achieve, is like I wanted it to really have that feel. So that element felt so key to me. And the only way to make that feel authentic is if I really just said to people, like, you what would you think, like, or make a character and speak through them about this, like. And social media is such a like ubiquitous part of our lives that I don't know, it was I think part of it for me is just like trusting people's ideas, giving them enough ramp to like go off of. So I mostly put out calls. I also reached out to some people directly that I knew would come up with something funny. and also gave people quite a lot of info. I gave very little like specifics. I gave a couple people like, hey, I kind of want something like this. I need some people that are like, there's this whole subplot in the film about people who are worried about if he digs to China that the Indian Ocean will go through the hole and flood North America. And so like I did give people like that context. So there were these like really wild emails that I was crafting was like, okay, it's possible to dig to China. You're worried about the Indian Ocean. So I just think like giving people that trust, they then take that and I don't know, like give that back to me in a way, like so because I honestly I think I used almost everything that was given to me, and I think the only stuff I didn't use was it was just redundant. And I did edit down quite a bit. I asked people to send me shorter clips. But, you know, as someone sending me a 30-second clip, a lot of those ended up just being like 3 or 4 seconds of the film. So there was always something in that 30 seconds that I thought was worth adding. And not all of it had to be laugh out loud funny. A lot of it just needed to fill in like the context. And so having real people who were not actors in some cases, it was really a pretty even mix of actors and non-actors. Coming in and doing that was really, really key. So, and I think like that idea goes to the whole film. Like there were some actors in the main parts of the film outside of the social media that were non-actors, and meaning that they don't do it in any kind of like either professional or amateur capacity regularly, and including the main character Phil. Like we and him and I did improv together, but he doesn't act regularly. All of that was improv. All of that was written for him, and kind of just giving him that trust, and giving him like a lot of emotional direction rather than giving him all these specifics of like, I want you to do blank, 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 or okay, well, let's try that again. It's like, well, if he's going in one direction, and how he's like finding that emotion, like oftentimes I would just follow that through the film. And some of the other people like were honestly improvisers that I idolize and who have a lot of experience that I did ask like sort of like, please, please come do this part for me. So yeah.
Yeah. And even just the look of it, the whole feel of it, it doesn't look cheap. It doesn't look, independent. It doesn't look like you rented equipment for $12 a month. I mean, it looks like a genuinely good film. And if Philip doesn't win some sort of best actor in one of these festivals, we were at the premiere and the MC asked him, um, well, he had done this he tried this as a child. And he said, how far did you get? And he said, oh, about halfway. But the way he said it, my wife and I looked at each other like, he's he didn't really think he got halfway, did he? Because he was so much like the character in the movie. And even
Yeah.
the MC was like, let's go back to that halfway thing. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, we really need to address this again. No, 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 I'm just kidding. I'm like, you couldn't have found a better person to play that role. And he just, from the beginning to end, it's touching, it's heartfelt. He's dealing with a loss, and there's a connection to his childhood, and it's just as you're going, you feel for this guy, and what he's going through, and who may be trying to manipulate, and he just there wasn't a part of it that seemed like he was acting. I mean, it felt like this was a real documentary about somebody who was trying to do this.
Yeah.
And it really floored me. That's why I wanted to have you on because, again, some of these aren't that good. I'm like, okay, I got to spin this. And it's nice to not have to spin it because if you really think something's genuinely good, um, and with Spinal Tap, there's now a sequel coming out.
Yeah.
So Easy Digging 2, there can always be, I want to see this character do something completely different. I want to
Right.
see him go to the grocery store and try to pick out because he is so genuinely funny. Even even just the little thing with the mic. That I mean, he's trying to get ready. That
Yeah.
is in the trailer. It just it doesn't feel like he's somebody that's, oh yeah, I got to do this. It's
Yeah.
just okay. This is the type of I love this movie so much, and I really want it to succeed, whether I was in it or not. Take me out of it. I'm probably the worst part of this film. Edit me out. Release this thing as is, because yeah, you guys did a phenomenal job with this, and it's you've had a couple. I know you had a sold out show when I was there. I think you had a couple sold out screenings.
Yeah, we do. I work at We Love Video in Austin, which is a nonprofit video store. And so we did a couple more screenings there, just kind of like for friends and family and like around just the community. And those went really well. It's honestly, I'm so like happy and touched to hear this. Every time I hear it, it feels like a fever dream still because it was 2 years. It was like I mean, there were like four of us on the crew, you know. I mean, it was barely anyone making this film, and there were two people we did in post. Me and Keith did all the editing, all the color, all the motion graphics. I learned a lot of that stuff along the way in order to make it happen. And so for it to come out and it be something that like I am so proud of because my favorite types of movies are really, really stupid concepts that have like a an emotional heart. And that was like that's what I set out to do with this. And the fact that I succeeded and it was fun and I'm like reinvigorated as like a filmmaker and an artist and a writer from it has just been like amazing. And also, by the way, like so many people, it's funny you say like, oh, my part's like the least funny part, but like so many people like ask if there's like those like a-hole shirts
Oh
and
no,
people mention it. So
really,
yeah, people do. My friend
really?
in England just watched. I sent them a screener link, and they were they mentioned that when they
Okay.
they messaged me back.
Well, now I'm touched. That's I was gonna wear it,
It
and
was
then I'm
a
like, I don't
very
want to give
funny
away the
bit.
joke. Yeah, so I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
I'm
a
not gonna
very
do.
funny bit.
So okay, well, thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, no, I because I yeah, I am so pleased with the film, and it's going to be in its first film festival this Saturday, 10 a.m. Radius Center in San Antonio, correct?
Yes, that's
All
correct.
right.
Yeah,
Okay. I will put a link to tickets in the description. So check that out. Make sure you get tickets to the movie. But since then, you're also an author. You have written a book.
I
Tell us a
have.
little
Yes.
bit about that.
Yeah, so I have a book coming out in fall 2026 with Scholastic. It's called Spells to Mend a Broken Heart. Spells to Mend Broken Hearts. Sorry. We have like it's all like we just got out of the working title into like the actual title, so
Oh,
we're
okay.
still transitioning there. Um, but it's written for young adults and kind of like the middle grade ages. And it's kind of a coming of age, like takes place in the Pacific Northwest. It's about two girls that become like very fast friends, then get really into like tarot and crystals and like get kind of like wound up about it. And it's a little bit of a love story. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. I have been writing for a very long time. This is my first book coming out. I also have a couple other things in the pipe that aren't haven't quite, I can't quite talk about them yet, but
Okay.
finally, writing wise, like it's been a long road to get to this point of being published, and very excited about this book and all of
Excellent.
that. So
Excellent. We'll have to check it out. Let me know when it's coming out,
yeah,
and
I will.
we'll have you back for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. One question that was asked at the time, and you wanted nothing to do with that question because you were completely burned out from editing this. And you
Yeah.
talked about all the great footage that was submitted, like the 30 minutes, being added as a bonus feature on a potential DVD release.
Yeah.
Is that something that is a possibility at this point, or do you want nothing more to do with this film after it's released and you want to move on to the next thing?
No, I feel like I'm now like like finally in a headspace where I'm even thinking like, what would I make next? I'm not ready yet. I'm not there yet, but I'm now like got some ideas cooking and just kind of open to thinking about it because it's really hard to do like DIY self-funded like stuff. It's just, I have a day job and I'm writing and it's like I don't know how I did it. Um, but yeah, no, I would absolutely put together like some extended scenes, deleted scenes. There's like, oh, there's some really funny lines that I had to cut just because it was like there was one guy in particular in the film. His name's Ace Manning, and he plays Rod, who's like the boyfriend of the main character's
Oh
ex.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, yep,
And
yep.
he was like 6 jokes a minute, and I couldn't keep them all in, but there were so many that like we kept until like the final culling period of like, okay, we've got to cut a few more minutes. Just like, it hurt to cut some of those jokes. So there's a lot of stuff like that from a lot of people in the film. And yeah, I mean,
But
I would be thrilled to be able to distribute this and so that it has a bigger audience. And I would absolutely include
yeah,
some
because that
bonuses.
one
Yeah.
of my favorite characters was the professor or the instructor or something. So,
Yeah.
so if there's 30 more minutes, I have to see this because
There's
he
more.
was, and I can't remember, there was somebody he was reminding me of the whole time, and I'm like, this is like that character. And yeah, it was just blip, and I'm like, nope, I would love to see a little bit more of them. But that was again the problem. You had riches galore
Yeah.
because there was so many good characters, and then you introduce another one, and they're really good. And I was like, then that was the thing of watching this, and I'm like, this movie just keeps getting better and better.
Oh,
And I was just floored at how a crazy concept in a very risky way of saying, okay, let's get people in this thing, and it all came together. And I mean that is some serious direction and some serious editing because I've
yeah.
done some editing in the past, and I know you lose a lot of good stuff, but it's always for the betterment of the film. And I think, yeah, if you put more in, you're already okay. It's feeling a little bit long. You should have stopped it 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So very, kudos to you, kudos to Philip, kudos to everybody involved. You've got a great film, and I'm looking forward to seeing some rewards come your way, hopefully very, very soon. When do you think we're going to see a wide release?
I have no idea. This is the stuff I've done in the past. I've never really gone this route with, like necessarily. And so I'm sort of wading into unknown waters here. I really would love to see this on like a streamer that most people can access. So, or on a streaming platform people can access. And I will be trying to pursue some like distribution stuff, but like since this is so DIY, like it's literally just like me and the three other producers of this just kind of like wading into the into the waters. So hopefully we get some good audiences at film festivals, and there's some hope that I think there's also ways to self-distribute like on streaming platforms as well. So I'm going to be looking into all of that, but probably next year, because we want to give it a chance to kind of do the film festival thing and get to have some more audiences and theatrical stuff. And so hopefully some fun will come out of it. But I'll get it out there like no matter what. It'll be up there soon because I
All
really made I mean I made this to make it for it to be fun for people to enjoy, for people to feel things and laugh. And I mean, I can't believe it only cost $3,500. It's saying that it makes it sound like it's going to be really bad, but so I appreciate you emphasizing that it
well,
doesn't
that was
look
the
like
thing because I also knew the budget,
that.
and I'm like, there is no way because again, one
Yeah.
of the things I was on had a budget way more than that,
Yeah.
and it came out as like half a movie, and there's no cohesion, and my wife was sitting there and was like, "What is this about?" And I explained to her, she's like, "That's what this movie's about," and I'm like, I know. So
Yeah.
I'm not lying. I'm not exaggerating. Um, it's genuinely a good movie. Again, it's like the feel of Spinal Tap, where it's just that they make it up as they go, and some of the funniest bits are like in Spinal Tap where they just get lost trying to find their way to the stage. It's just little thing. He's sitting there measuring things, and it's just the way he does it
Yeah.
is just funny, and it's a very light-hearted. These aren't heavy hitting hard jokes. It's just a nice light-hearted, very family film. In fact, I'm kind of embarrassed because I think I'm the only one who swears in this movie.
No,
And
no, there's a few more.
are
Yeah,
there? Okay, because I'm sitting there, I'm
it's
like, I thought you were
solidly.
going to bleep it and you didn't
Yeah.
bleep it. so, so but you should be very proud. It's a generally a good movie, and we will let the audience know when it comes out wide. For right now, it's going to be in San Antonio at the Radius Center, 10 a.m. on Saturday. What is that date? It's
That would be
2025 for those watching later on in time.
July 26th, 2025. Yeah. Yes.
July
Yeah.
26, 2025 at the Radius Center. Marissa Macy, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for allowing me in your picture.
Of
It,
course.
it was a lot
Thank
of
you.
fun. Thank you. Also, look for her book coming out. We'll provide that. Tickets are on sale now for the movie. Find them in the links. And thank you for joining us. And we'll be with John Horton. We're going to have a summer recap of the films on streaming and in theaters. Get our take on those coming in the next few days. So watch out for that. I'm Kyle Pierson, and this is In the Spotlight. Thanks for watching.